So amongst all of the action stars of the 1980s, I think Stallone had quite a unique position in the market. As a young kid, I actually got to see quite a few of his films because, in addition to his tough and ultra-violent movies, he also had, largely thanks to Rocky, quite a following of young kids, because he did make movies that you could, as a young kid, actually go and see. And kids knew who Rambo was, even if they weren't even allowed to see the films. My matinee movie choice was a film that he made for kids in the mid to late 1980s, like me. It is Over the Top from 1987. So I can't remember whether I saw this at the cinema or as a video rental. I'm pretty sure I did go to the cinema to see this. Either way, it was a very young age when I saw it, and it was not long after it was released. I loved the film at the time, and it's one that I've watched so many times over the years and keep coming back to. Unlike The Goonies, which I picked as my matinee film for our first episode, it's not one where I can remember every scene and every line. Part of the weird thing with Over the Top, and part of its charm, is that a couple of years goes by between me watching it each time, and I tend to forget almost every detail about it. So when I do actually get around to rewatching it, I get totally charmed by it all over again. So for those of you who don't know Over the Top, the screenplay was written by Sylvester Stallone and Sterling Silliphant. Try saying that over and over again. The film opens with Sylvester Stallone's character Lincoln Hawk, who's a truck driver picking up his son Michael from a military boarding school in Colorado. We quickly learn that Lincoln is estranged from Michael and his wife Christina, and that Christina, who is suffering from heart disease, has asked Lincoln to pick up Michael and take him on a road trip back to LA so they can reconnect, spend some time together and develop their relationship. Over the phone calls that they make to each other on the trip, it's clear that there's still a lot of love and affection between Lincoln and Christina, and that the primary reason for their estrangement is the influence of Christina's wealthy father, played by Robert Loggia, and his hatred for Lincoln. Over the course of the road trip, after an initially shaky start, Lincoln and Michael begin to bond, and we also learn that Lincoln earns additional money by taking part in arm wrestling contests, and that he's in training for the upcoming World Arm Wrestling Championships in Las Vegas. I don't want to give away any more plot specifics, but once the road trip ends, Lincoln and Michael are forced apart, and Lincoln takes off to Vegas alone, where he gambles everything he has on his chances in the arm wrestling contest. Now, Over the Top is a 1980s Rocky movie in all but name. It has a very 1980s feel to it. The score is by Giorgio Moroder, and the film is peppered with montages accompanied by catchy rock power ballads. And it all, of course, in true Sylvester Stallone 1980s style, it all builds up to a fantastically emotional climax. And after this most recent rewatch, I still absolutely love it. Simon, what are your thoughts of Over the Top, and what's your history with our matinee film?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned the soundtrack, so let's start there. Before I came over to record this episode, I was actually listening to it on Spotify.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which then, obviously, we sometimes poo-poo streaming services and try and think about the physical things. So I've Googled it, and apparently the CD soundtrack is still in print, and it can be bought for under £10 from Amazon. So that's cool.
I've not listened specifically to the soundtrack itself, but certain songs of it I've been listening to recently off the back of rewatching the film.
Yeah. Because I think it puts you in a certain mood, doesn't it? I mean, this film is absolutely great fun, is the way I describe it. Yeah. I saw it again probably on telly or video back in the late 80s, early 90s, well, probably late 80s actually. Then I went a long period without having seen it, and then it was streaming on Amazon Prime last year, and so I caught up with it then, and then obviously borrowed your DVD to rewatch it for this episode. But it's absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely,
I mean, if you don't mind films that are cheesy, this is absolutely brilliant fare for a Saturday evening. Or any time, really. It's the
sort of film, isn't it? You want to, if you just want to sit down, know what you're going to get, and be thoroughly entertained.
Yeah.
This is the film for you.
Yeah.
No surprises. Just
just entertainment, isn't it? Really, and thinking about who made the film. So it's obviously Cannon Films.
Yes.
Who we all love, and they became very well known, particularly in the 80s, for their very notable action films. Usually served with a lot of violence, not so much in this case, but a huge dollop of cheese. So when I'm thinking about classic sort of Cannon 80s films, I would put this with, Death Wish 3, which is absolutely fantastic. Have you seen Ninja 3, The Domination?
I've not seen Ninja 3, no.
Well, that's another one. Those two are more violent, but I would say in terms of cheesy 80s fun, they would make a great bill, I think.
Yeah. I was going to mention, obviously, that this is I'm very pleased that on our second episode we've managed to get our first canon film on here.
I'm sure there'll be many more.
And of course, the Over the Top is actually directed by Menahem Golan, who, along with his producing partner and cousin, Yoram Globus, headed up the studio. Yeah. You mentioned Ninja 3. Obviously, Golan himself did direct a film in that series that preceded that, Enter the Ninja.
Oh, the first
of course,
one,
with Franco Nero,
the great
and Susan George.
Yeah.
And of course, the Delta Force with Chuck Norris and Lee Marvin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thinking about this film, I mean, one of the things, there was two things actually that stuck out in my mind from my memories thinking back. Firstly was the backwards cap when Sly goes in to arm wrestle. If he puts his cap on backwards, invariably he's going to win. Yeah. That's not a spoiler. Yeah. And the other is when he's driving his truck and he's working out with the weights. That's absolutely brilliant.
For those of us in office desk jobs as well, it's a good idea of how you can do some training still at your desk.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to mention the actual move over the top.
Yes.
Because I don't know if you've researched this or thought about this, but I was really curious about it because obviously it's the name of the film and it's a moving arm in arm wrestling.
Yeah.
So I've been on arm wrestling forums to try and find out. Maybe that's going a bit above and beyond. But anyway, I was just interested. Apparently it is a real legal move.
Right.
But it's not a recognised one. So if you were to enter an arm wrestling competition, you'd be unlikely to pull out over the top to try and win. In this one, obviously you pull it out and you win. You know,
well,
even the kid wins.
I'm so glad to hear you actually research this because ever since I was a kid and first started watching this, that the move over the top has absolutely fascinated me, and it's always baffled me. It's like, why does seemingly Lincoln Hawk why is he the only person who seems to know about this move?
Watching. And they're at a competition at the end of the film. It's mad. I'd also like to mention
the top.
Yeah, that's right. I'd also like to mention the last 20 to 30 minutes of the film, which is the arm wrestling tournament. Now, I have to say, I don't know about you, but this is my favourite part of the film.
Oh yeah,
this is absolutely brilliant.
Well, we've said that this episode is all about highlighting Stallone's non-Rocky work, but anybody who's seen a Rocky movie knows how it's going to build, and Over the Top does exactly that, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So what you've got all these nefarious characters.
Yeah.
Most of them are absolutely massive. I mean, they're just ridiculous human beings, and you see them warming up. I think Sly's doing this. He's got this sort of bench press, but it's like an incline thing that he's doing. And then people are doing like press ups and lifting weights and all the rest of it. And there's lots of back slapping. There's lots of grunting while this is going on.
Yeah.
And Over the Top, and pun intended, we've got the classic track Winner Takes It All, playing by Sammy Hagar, which I've now got on my playlist, say on Spotify. And it's total cheese. But my favourite character is Grizzly.
Yes.
You know the guy I mean?
Yes, yeah.
So for those that haven't seen it or maybe have seen it and forgotten, he's the guy that wears like a camo vest, camo trousers. He's got like a long beard. He's got like long hair. He's got FUBAR written on his vest.
Yeah.
And the best bit, and one of my favourite bits in the film, is when he first arm wrestles Sly.
Yeah. And
he's smoking a cigar and then he eats it.
Yes.
I mean, who would do that? Unbelievable.
Did you know he reminded me of, and I had to look this up because I was convinced it was him. He reminded me of the character Leonard Smalls in Raising Arizona.
Oh, right.
The bike from hell. Yeah. I was convinced it was him, but it isn't. Yeah. But yeah, he absolutely resembles him. Glad you loved the whole arm wrestling tournament at the end. Well, so I discovered, which you're going to love this, Simon. Apparently, once the movie was actually approved for production, a real-life over-the-top arm wrestling tournament was created, and the final of the tournament was held at the Las Vegas Hilton, and it's the footage from that that was then used in the film.
Yeah.
So pretty much every bit you see of that tournament, which is not featuring Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling, is actually footage from the real life.
I didn't know that.
And they're all real life arm wrestlers who are taking part in
I'm not surprised.
In this over the top tournament.
I mean, they really do look the part, don't they?
Yeah. And well, you mentioned about the power ballads. There's another track on there which I don't know if you noticed, but I think we've got to mention is that. Do you recognise there was a song "Bad Night"?
Yes.
Performed by Frank Stallone.
Oh right, okay. Of course, he's a singer, isn't he?
Yeah. So Sly's younger brother managed to get a performance in on one of the songs on there. So there's one other thing I have to mention about Over the Top before we move on. Stallone's character's name. My understanding that his name is Lincoln Hawk. The credits and the poster of the film are quite clear that it's Lincoln Hawk, but the trailer for the film and Robert Loggia all the way through the film call him Lincoln Hawks. So it's really quite bizarre. I'm sticking with Lincoln Hawk.
Yeah.
Final thing to mention as well is that obviously they go on this road trip at the beginning here, and obviously Sly's playing a truck driver. The actual cargo load is Brute aftershave.
Brilliant.
and Brute actually had a promotional tie-in with the film as well, and I think there was actually advertisements and competitions that were running alongside the film.
Wow, brilliant! Yeah.
So
I wonder if you can still buy Brute. I guess it's still out there.
It must be out there somewhere, I imagine.
Timeless brand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was surprised to learn the film was not actually a big financial success on its original release. From a budget of $25 million, $10 million of which went to Stallone for his fee, it only actually recouped $16 million. So it actually was a box office flop. And the critical consensus at the time was not great either. I was also surprised to hear that Stallone himself has said that he was not happy with how the film had turned out and wished that it had gone for a more gritty and realistic tone. I don't know about you, Simon, but personally I'm glad that he didn't go for that, because I think certainly going back to how I felt about the film as a kid and even now, I don't think it would have been quite as special and as cherished by his younger audience if he'd gone down that route.
It's a time capsule, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, absolutely. What's the availability like on Over the Top?
So breaking news regarding Over the Top and its physical media release, and it's good news. There's going to be a 4K and Blu-ray released in the UK on the 28th of July. So that's going to be as a media book and a steelbook.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that's really good news. A lot of these old Stallone action films from the 80s didn't really have the Blu-rays or the 4Ks that they deserved, and it seems to be starting to happen now. I think also there's even going to be a standalone DVD.
Right. Excellent. No Brute aftershave with it at all? Or...
Well, yet to be announced, but anything's possible.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, very good news. However you check it out, do make sure you check out Over the Top. It's highly recommended by both of us.